Hello and welcome back to Not Just Buildings. Now, you might be wondering, do I have the right podcast? What on earth is Not Just Buildings? Well, listener, I'm pleased to tell you that we have renamed Chamber Vibes to something that more accurately reflects the purpose of this podcast, which is to tell the stories of businesses, nonprofits, and institutions in the area of Bedford, Virginia, which we do by talking to the real local people working behind the scenes. Plus, the new name is pretty catchy, and it's inspired by longtime Chamber and board member Bill Moss, who always says that businesses aren't just buildings, they're people. Thank you, Bill, for your years of service to our chamber and business community. We appreciate you. Anyway, thanks so much for sticking with us as we grow, and if you're new to the podcast, we're glad to have you join us as we kick off 2026. Now, for our official introduction, welcome to Not Just Buildings, where we interview the local people behind businesses, nonprofits, and institutions in the area of Bedford, Virginia. My name is Foster Garrett, and I am the Director of Marketing and Events for the Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce, which is a membership organization whose mission is to serve as a catalyst for local business success, a convener of regional leadership, and a champion for a vibrant and resilient economy. However, before we get to the interview, I would like to highlight some of our upcoming programming and events. We offer a little bit of everything for everyone, so I encourage you to stick around to learn more about what's next. But if you want to just jump straight to today's interview, no worries. You can find all of our programming on bedfordareachamber.com, and I'll drop our phone number at the end of this episode, so make sure to listen all the way through. Excitingly enough, we do have our spring job fair this Friday, April 17th, from 10:30 to 2 at Blue Ridge Community Church at New London. This event has been coming up for quite a while. I am super excited to host it. Our job fairs are some of my favorite Bedford Chamber events, and if you're looking for a new opportunity, this is the place to be. We have everything from blue-collar jobs to healthcare to professional services. Really, everything that you can think of will be offered here. Part-time, full-time, seasonal, internships. We welcome everybody that is looking for a new opportunity to come on out. It's free to come. We will have bagels and coffee as long as supplies last. If you'll have your kiddos with you that day, don't worry. We have free childcare so they can color and do crosswords and do other things while you talk to different employers about different opportunities that they have. And if you're intimidated by coming to a job fair, please don't be. We know that it can be a little overwhelming, but we try to make it as welcoming as possible. If you have something specific that you want to learn about, whether it's a specific role or a business or just typical an industry, we'll be more than happy to introduce you to different people in the room. And just the act of coming to a job fair and shaking hands and putting yourself out there, that really helps you stand out with the hiring pool. All of these businesses are actively recruiting for their companies and they want to speak to you. So come on by, bring your resume. We have the full list of participating businesses. There are 27 on our website, bedfordareachamber.com. I'll just rattle off a couple. We have Banker Steel, Bedford County, the Bedford Regional Water Authority, Blue Ridge Regional Jail Authority, Central will be there, Collaborative Health Partners, Coleman Adams Construction, Custom Truck One Source, Foster Fuels, Horizon Behavioral Health, Intercept Health, Mariners Landing, ServPro, Southern Air, and so many more. There are a lot of great names on that list, and if you go to the webpage, you can click on their name and go see all the roles that they're offering, so you can kind of pregame our job fair and have an idea of who exactly you need to talk to in the room. We'll also have a raffle for a $50 gift card in addition to door prizes, and we'll have a QR code on all of our programs with the contact information of the person that you spoke to at each booth so that you can follow up with them. It's a really great event. I recommend coming on out if you're looking for a new opportunity. Beyond that, we actually have a business roundtable next week on April 23rd. We do all of our business roundtables in partnership with the Bedford County Office of Economic Development and the Town of Bedford Economic Development Office. So we're excited for that. It's a free event. We do ask that you RSVP so that we can set up the right amount of chairs and tables and coffee. But we are super excited to have Amanda Stanley with the Artisan Leader come back as our facilitator. She is an incredible coach, consultant, and speaker, and our topic is critique without catastrophe. So it's all about a model for receiving feedback well and for being able to know about different feedback triggers, just being more cognizant of how you're speaking to your team, how you're receiving feedback from others. It'll be really interesting. It's a great professional development opportunity, and that is April 23rd from 8:30 to 10 a.m. at the Bedford Area Welcome Center. But like I said at the beginning, you can find everything I just talked about and more on bedfordareachamber.com. And you're always welcome to reach out to us with questions. The Chamber would love to hear from you, whether you're a Chamber member, a community member, or just a listener who enjoys our podcast. But that is more than enough from me. Without further ado, please allow me to introduce today's guest, Jen Webb with Johnson Health Center. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I know, welcome back in a different way.
Yes, we evolve, right?
I know, I think you were one of the first people I had on the podcast when I started in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So long ago that I barely remembered you. So this will be like a reintroduction.
Yes, exactly.
Well, before we kind of dive into it, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and then your organization?
Of course. My name is Jen Webb. I am a registered nurse, and I used to work in the emergency room. I did that for about 10 years off and on, and I found my passion. I love emergency room medicine, but I also, while I worked there, I realized that there were a lot of people that do not have access to healthcare. And it became something that I just really felt like I needed to get involved with and figure out a way to help increase access because, fundamentally it feels like everyone should be able to, go to a doctor when they're sick and not have the emergency room be the only option that they have. So I started working in public health, and it's just, it's one of those things. Once you get started with it, you're in it for life. And I was with the Free Clinic of Central Virginia for quite some time, and now I'm here with Johnson's Health Center. And here I am in a role called development, advocacy, and communication, essentially. And so I spend a lot of my time going out in the community and making people aware of what we do, and doing stuff like this.
Well, awesome.
Yes.
That's super exciting. I'm very interested by your background, and I'm sure it'll come up as we talk.
Mm-hmm.
But before we talk more, can you just give us an overview of what Johnson Health Center is, the history, when it got started, all the things?
Yeah, so Johnson's has been around for quite some time. We started in a single location on Federal Street many years ago, and that's in Lynchburg. And it has rapidly evolved over the years. So we're a federally qualified healthcare center. So what does that mean? It means that we do a lot of data collection to the government and do a lot of things that allows them to kind of keep a finger on the pulse of our communities, but also allows us to know that we're serving the community right. And so we do get federal dollars, but we also, as time has gone on, we've realized that, we also need to fundraise because the need in all of our communities is so great. So as we've grown, we've added different locations. So now we serve Amherst, and that location is right off of 29 and Madison Heights. And then we serve Lynchburg in 2 locations. So we're on Federal Street, and we are also on Atherholt Road, which is where our OB and Peds clinic is, which, we're one of the only facilities in the state that is offering OB care to Medicaid recipients. And so that's huge. And it's also something that we're realizing, we really have to step up to the plate for that need. We're also in Rustburg. And then finally, in our favorite place, we are in Bedford. And I cannot remember what year we opened in Bedford, but we've been here for a couple years. I think last year we served almost 11,000 visits.
Wow.
At our Bedford location, which
that's crazy.
Is actually almost 12,000. So, we know that the need is great here. But the amazing thing to me over the years is how many times I am out in the community, and people just don't know the resources that are available to them. They don't know that Johnson's is here. We are called the Bedford Health Center here, but it is a Johnson's location.
Yeah, I think that was something that was really interesting to me when I started the chamber. I'm from Bedford. I grew up here. I went away to school. I lived in Richmond for a couple months after, but I've been here for 4 years now. Wow, that's a long time.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Seriously. But it was really cool kind of at the chamber. I knew that the Bedford Community Health Center was down off of Blue Ridge Avenue in that little strip mall where People's used to be. I say all these things. You don't have to know what they are. I just,
they are.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I'm way older than you. So
oh, okay. You're hip. I see. But I didn't know that it was a Johnson Health Center location. And as I kind of like delved into it, I was like, oh, like the dental part of everything is really interesting. And I started learning about like the mobile dental services that you guys have, and seeing the partnerships that you do with Bedford County Public Schools for students, and having Denny Huff with the Bedford Community Health Foundation on to talk about the impact of having access to dental services upon somebody's mental health, upon their career opportunities. Just, it's really interesting how it all kind of ties together for a healthy community.
Absolutely. You're speaking my language right here. So it's funny, when I was an ER nurse, every ER nurse has their thing that makes them like pass out or that they can't handle. And mine was teeth, which is just really
That's
funny.
valid. Teeth are gross.
They really, to me for a long time, I struggled with anything to do with teeth. And so when I first got started working in the clinics, one of the big things was I was over dental and I was part of it. And so in time, it's just amazing that something that was such a phobia or something that it bothered me so much has become one of my biggest passions in life. I truly believe we are in a public health emergency with dental in this country. We love to see people with their, straight white teeth with, perfect smiles. And, when it comes down to it, most people do not have access to a dentist. And even if you move to a new community and you are fully insured and have, plenty of cash, it's going to take you probably between 1 and 3 years to get in at a dentist.
Wow.
Because the need is so great and the availability is so little. So I think that what you were saying is so true, but the problem is, and what I'm seeing is that the problems that you're speaking to are starting now in middle school and in high school. And these kids are graduating already having teeth that need to be pulled and having, really bad decay and things that are going to rapidly progress. And, not only is that going to, as you say, hurt their confidence, hurt their ability to get jobs, hurt their ability to, really function in some ways because it hurts to eat, and that impacts your nutrition. And it's just this spiral that it's really unfortunate that could really be prevented. And for some people, it completely alters their life to have bad dental because it's just one of the first things people look at.
Yeah.
I mean, if you hold up a picture of somebody with really bad teeth, people make a lot of assumptions and they don't even know that they're making those assumptions, but they do. And, that person, that individual is also telling themselves a lot of really bad things. So I'm really proud of the fact that Johnson's has grown dental at the level that they have. And we continue to try to grow it so that people can have access to those services. Bedford, I think we served I think I just looked at the numbers. It was about almost 3,000 dental visits. And we hope to continue to grow that number and bring our mobile dental to the schools and just continue to meet that need for our communities.
Yeah, that's like a fourth of the total population that you served last year in Bedford.
Yeah.
Just for dental alone.
Just for dental. Yeah. It's pretty wild. And, and if you've ever had dental pain, that it's completely debilitating.
Yeah.
You cannot, you can't function and there's not a lot that can touch the pain. And so, the need is great.
Yeah. one of my friends actually, we've all gone through the phases of needing our wisdom teeth out, and I don't have dental insurance. It was extremely expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I was grateful to be able to afford it.
Mm-hmm.
But she had an impacted tooth.
Mm-hmm.
It was extremely painful. She was on Medicaid,
Mm-hmm.
and it was impossible to find a doctor to take it out.
Yes.
Without it being like an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up at the ER.
Yeah.
And they ended up having to take out her tooth.
Yeah. And the thing is, ER doctors, that's not what
That's
they
not what
do.
they're there for.
And that's
yeah.
not what they're trained to do. And, there's a lot of things that can go really wrong with an impacted tooth. And, it's just, again, it's unfortunate that that's the way that we, the way that things have shaped up, that this is how care is delivered. But that's why Johnson's exist, is to, help change the narrative on that and try to increase access. And when somebody says that they're in that kind of pain, that they do have somewhere to go. Unfortunately, even for us, our books are really, really full, and we're constantly looking for ways to increase access. But, that requires, like I said, at this point, fundraising, because, we, in order to grow, we have to have funds. And, when you've got needs so great, the funds that are coming in from what we have in place just aren't meeting it.
Yeah. So you guys are a nonprofit organization.
We are, yes.
So how can people contribute to your fundraising?
So we, we're a nonprofit, and we historically have done kind of minimal fundraising, but we just started something called the Care Collective, which is a monthly donor program, and you can contribute, X amount of dollars, covers, pediatric visits for a year for a pediatric patient, or things like that. At the end of the day, giving, $10 a month has a huge impact. Obviously, giving $100 a month is a massive impact. So just being able to you can go to our website, which is jhcvirginia.org. And there's a link at the top to donate now. That's the easiest way. Obviously, if you want to mail us a check, you can do that as well. There's information to do that online. But that monthly donor program is what I feel is one of the biggest impacts, because I think, people that give their money now, it's very different than it used to be. And I think people want to know that they're doing a thing with their money. So, being able to say, hey, if I give $10 a month, then that's going to mean that, a high school student's going to get 2 dental visits. I mean, that's impactful to me, and it's impactful to the person who's making the donation. So yes, we definitely, we need donations. We need to be able to grow all of our programs, and that's the most impactful way people can help us.
Yeah, that's awesome. What are some other services that you offer in Bedford?
So we do medical, so birth to however many years, and then we do mental health services, which, as that's an area where people don't have a lot of access, and so the fact that we're able to provide that is huge, and we also do, as I said, dental. So the only thing that's not currently offered in Bedford would be OB. So, but we are looking to, we're fundraising and looking for grants to be able to hire a ultrasound tech.
That's exciting.
To be able to do ultrasounds in Bedford. So that's the hope with the next phase of growth there. But that's something that we've got to raise the funds to do, to be able to hire that person.
Yeah. That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
You guys offer a lot in Bedford.
Yeah, we do. Anything you need, you can show up. There are limited walk-ins every day.
Okay.
So there are a number of spaces that people, if they do need walk-in, they can do so. And then the other service is pharmacy. So we have an in-house pharmacy there. So if you go to the doc and you're feeling terrible and you want your, Z-Pack after they've written you a prescription for it, that's something that can be filled at the office.
That's really nice.
And, we also have sliding scales and different things to match your income level. with the appropriate pricing for the pharmaceutical that you need.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
How many people do you employ like across GHC?
It's 350
that's so
or
crazy.
so. Yeah. I think even I, who have been in healthcare for 20 years, and been in this part of healthcare for 10, I was really, really surprised at the level of service and delivery models that Johnson's has.
Mhm.
I've always known this location is here and here and here, but I think people just do not realize what a amazing organization this is, and how hard people have worked to grow it to a level that across all of our practices, we served 100,000 visits last year to
Wow.
30,000 people. And that's impressive.
Yeah.
And, if you think about that, if you remove what we're offering here in Bedford, those 11,000 visits or 12,000 visits are going to go to the emergency room. There's nowhere else for them to go. And so, the type of, like, Denny was speaking to, community change that happens when people are able to get care that isn't so fragmented and isn't so, yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but the care that you're going to get in the emergency room is just not going to make you a healthier person unless you're dying.
Yeah.
Then they can fix you, or you need stitches. I mean, they're going to make you a healthier person when it's the appropriate place for that care.
Yeah.
But the ER is not where you go with a toothache. The ER is not where you go with high blood pressure in the early stages. You've got to have a place that cares for you as a whole person, and meaning, your care over time.
And I think also the type of people that are employed at Johnson's, everybody kind of feels that calling.
Yes.
To serve.
Yes.
And to care for others.
Yeah. And I think Johnson's, we do a really good job of if you start in a position and it ends up not being the right fit for you, it's not a conversation of you leaving immediately. It's a conversation of where do you fit best?
Oh, that's really cool.
And, I think there's a lot of that occurs because, I mean, I'm sure, as you know, like, as you go into a job, you might have one image in your head of what it's going to be, and then it's so drastically different. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not a good fit for the organization. But I think that people who go into this work, they know that they want to have an impact on their community, and they know that they want to do something that helps people, and that is what makes us different. So
yeah, that's cool. We recently had a smart networking workshop about hiring, retention, and talent development, and really the major take, there's a lot of good information, of course, but the major takeaway was if you want to have great people, you have to be people first. And it's all about building those relationships. When you find a new hire, if you're not checking with them every 30 days, every 60 days, whatever, to make sure that it is what they thought they were going to get into and that it's a good fit, then they might leave. They might not enjoy what they're doing, and you want people to have a purpose with your organization. And I think that's what makes like good organizations.
Yes. I mean, we as humans, yes, you're motivated by money, and yes, you're motivated by, like title or whatever. But fundamentally, we're all intrinsically motivated, and that's very different. What is it that drives you? What is it that makes you want to come to work every day? And yes, again, money is part of it, but it's not what keeps you engaged. It's just not. And if you're not doing something that, taps into that, then, you probably need to keep looking, because you're never going to be happy. No matter how many raises you get or how many title changes you get, you're just not going to be happy. You're chasing the wrong carrot. I mean, it's not going to work. But, I think that if you go into a job and you really think that you're having an impact on people in a community, that can be very rewarding. And so, and it's great to be part of the team. And Johnson's, during their last strategic plan, really honed in on people first. That was something that our CEO, Gary Campbell, and the executive team, they realized that, as fast as they had grown and as quickly as we have added all of these services, that, focusing back on the basics, which is your people, is the most important thing. But it requires, constant check-ins. I mean, we're having a meeting this month that really is, all the leaders at Johnson's getting together and saying, what can we do to be better? And, that's just part of the work. Because it is, as much as it's rewarding, these jobs, especially the frontline workers, they're really, really hard sometimes, and they're exhausting. And so, we really try to figure out ways to make that better and check the pulse on that regularly, because it can be exhausting. And you go on Facebook and, you may have had 100 great encounters that day, but there was one that was bad. And so a person just rants, and then it starts this, we live in a society where the good seems to be overlooked a lot right now. And, that's part of our challenge, is trying to, get people to focus on the good and focus on, like I said, making our communities healthier and doing it together. It's really important.
Yeah. I feel you on the Facebook thing.
Good Lord.
People, I understand that people complain because they care about something, but it can be really hard to see some of that stuff. I actually don't have any social media on my phone right now, which I'm very proud of myself for, because it can be easy to get stuck in the cycle of wanting to know what's going on in my community, but the only things I'm seeing are either misinformation or like bad news.
Right.
So I think getting back to talking to each other and having conversations about, how can we do better? What are the things that we need? But also just sharing good information and being gentle with each other and understanding that we're all just people. I think that's very helpful. And what you said about working in healthcare is not easy.
No.
I really don't know how you guys do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, yes, it is a very challenging job, but, it's sort of like when you see or hear people talk about the whole thing of like taking a picture of you as a child and putting it on your mirror, and every morning looking at that picture and, being like, I need to be kind to her. The words that are in my head and the things that are in my head, would I say them to that child right there? And, because that is you. And it's the same thing in healthcare. Like you really have to get people to remember, like, who was that person who decided that this career path was what they wanted, and how can you, get that person to stay engaged and to stay, excited to come to work and excited to keep helping people. And, I think there's science, like you're saying, behind giving up Instagram, giving up those things, because our brains are wired. There's this whole science, I'm sure you've heard of it, neuroplasticity. The more negative thoughts you think, the deeper those pathways get in your brain, and they're the easier pathways. And, I think figuring out ways to whether it be deleting social media or doing things that allow you to take a break from that negative, path, really can help. And again, at Johnson's, having those mental health services here in Bedford are, crucial to getting people the help that they need, because everyone right now, this is a very tough time. And, being able to get help during that is really important. And I think that's something we all need to focus on.
Yeah. What are some of the mental health services that you guys offer?
We do counseling, and that's mainly the basic, like peer-to-peer, and having people, just being able to go somewhere and do talk therapy, and getting medications, and that's just typical. We aren't going to be your, there's levels of behavioral health, right? So, we're more your entry level of behavioral health, the beginnings. When things get super complicated, and you have multiple, conditions that really require a lot of management, we do have connections and referral sources to be able to get people the help that they need. So, yes.
That's awesome.
It's good.
Jen.
Yes.
I've learned a lot.
I'm so glad.
Is there anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I think that, again, this care collective that we've created is very new. We're still trying to figure out what we want to do with that. But, when you become part of the care collective, we are going to have little special things that get sent to you throughout the year, and, make you aware of what's going on. And, we really, it's, the whole saying, it takes a community or a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a community to make a health center thrive. And I think Bedford has always supported us and always been amazing. And we've had a lot of success there, but donations really do matter. It will help us be able to add more services that will make Bedford a place where people really don't have to leave for certain things that they need.
Yes.
So again, our website's a great place to go to be able to do that. And then, our site here in Bedford is on, like you had said, Blue Ridge Avenue. It's 582. I need my readers. I can't see. And the phone number is 540-425-7910. And again, we can help you with just about anything there. And we appreciate being able to be part of this community. It means a lot to us.
Well, we're very grateful to have you guys as part of the Bedford community and serving us in so many different ways. Yeah. So hopefully I will see you again very soon.
Yes, ma'am.
But I appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you.
This has been an awesome conversation.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, we'll have to do it again.
Yes.
You're listening to Not Just Buildings, hosted by the Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce and produced by Media Squatch. There are so many great people working together to make the Bedford area a great place to live, work, and do business, and we hope that by telling their stories, our listeners are able to become more connected to our community. After all, there are so many hidden gems, services, resources, and amazing opportunities just waiting to be seized right here in the area of Bedford, Virginia. If you like this interview, I have great news for you. New episodes come out every week, and we have lots of episodes for you to catch up on in the meantime. Episodes are available on Media Squatch Plus, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, our weekly newsletter, Facebook and website, and anywhere else you can find podcasts. If you want to learn more about us at the Chamber, we encourage you to check out our website, bedfordareachamber.com, or give us a call at 540-586-9401. Thanks so much for listening, and keep an ear out for the next episode of Not Just Buildings.